a frontier outpost, a Civil War lookout tower, the extravagance of a wealthy landowner, or maybe the haunted abode of practitioners of the dark arts. What's real and what's not? Welcome to the stone tower known as Frankenstein's Castle. On a ridge overlooking Hillsdale Park south of Dayton, Ohio, is an architectural anomaly that draws the curious from across the region. This 56-foot tall stone structure, with interior walls that are over 3 feet thick in some places, gives a panoramic view of over 15 miles of the Ohio Valley. An interior stone staircase lines the walls of the tower, and access is a hatch to the exterior upper turret. The structure is topped with an ominous parapet that gives the entire facade a sense of mystery and foreboding. It doesn't help that the tower is shrouded in legends of death, hauntings, and of course, satanic activity. But what is the real story behind the structure that the locals refer to as Frankenstein's Castle? Depending upon who you ask, the tower has an origin that spans centuries. One local that I interviewed claimed that the tower was built as a frontier lookout post during the European expansion across the pre-American wilderness in the 1700s. He claimed the Europeans built the tower as part of an early warning system against raids by the native inhabitants of the region. While certainly an interesting legend, it seems to be contradicted by other stories I heard about the origin of the tower. Some claimed it was not built until the American Civil War, again as a military outpost and lookout due to its seemingly endless view of the region and surrounding river system. A side trek into the tower's history recorded the tale of John D. Patterson, who is said to have had the tower built as an observation post for his surrounding property. Regardless of what story is told, it is always accompanied by tales of the tower being haunted. Typically, this is by ghosts of forgotten soldiers, or demonic entities summoned by Satanists throughout the ages. The structure known as Frankenstein's Castle or Hillsdale Tower was actually completed in 1941 by boys from the National Youth Administration. This was a pre-World War II jobs program that attempted to assist youth in, quote, overcoming economic adversity that was rampant throughout the country. The tower took over a year to build, and it was constructed by hand from raw stones taken from abandoned locations across the county. The tower originally had a raised wooden roof above the turret. This, however, has been lost over the years due to fire. But what about that haunting? Without venturing into the realm of speculation of specters, it can be said with certainty that the tower was the location of an unfortunate tragedy. On May 17, 1967, 16-year-old Peggy Harmison and her boyfriend were out for a drive and decided to visit the tower. While there, they became trapped by a relentless electrical storm. The tower itself was struck by lightning while the two teens were inside. The male, Ronald Stevens, was thrown to the bottom of the interior stone staircase but survived the strike. Peggy Harmison was not quite so fortunate. Her body was found lifeless on the stone steps. It was assumed that they were inside the tower when the strike took place, and they were overcome by the charge and the force of the blast. While this researcher finds it unreasonable to directly correlate this incident with any alleged haunting, I would be remiss if I failed to mention that there have been numerous reports of the apparition of a young female wandering the woods of the area immediately surrounding the tower. Additionally, throughout the years while the interior of the tower was still accessible, It is said that all manner of witchcraft and satanic activity took place within its walls. While verifiable proof of this type of activity is, of course, negligible, I think one would be hard-pressed to find any odd sort of structure that wasn't plagued by these types of rumors. If you are in the area, I encourage you to visit this location as it is easily accessible and the entirety of the park which encompasses the site is quite beautiful. You should know, however, that the tower has been long sealed, and entrance into its interior is near impossible. I would not take that statement as a challenge. The area is heavily patrolled by park rangers who both seek to keep visitors safe and preserve the legacy of the tower. When we as humans see things that are seemingly out of place, like stone towers on a hillside in an otherwise suburban environment, our minds create stories that help us both understand our surroundings and speak to our innate desire to add wonder to our mundane world. In an instance like this, however, it seems that the truth is far more interesting than the fiction that's been concocted over years of misinformation. Instead of tales of military incursion into a pristine landscape, I prefer to remember the work of a core of youth who labored to bring their dream to reality. I also like to remember the life of a young girl, one that was unfortunately cut short as she took shelter from a storm. It's worth pondering what other adventures such a spirit could have embarked upon. Thanks for watching. If you find this type of content interesting, please consider giving me that thumbs up like to encourage me to make some more. And maybe, just maybe, I'll see you on the next video.
If you enjoy videos about the randomness of our amazing world, consider clicking on the globe to subscribe, or maybe checking out one of the other videos right here.